Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Harakar Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of the great millstone who rule well. And shalom to the whole full elect. It's a commentary on the book of John, the 18th chapter, and it reads, When Yahushai had spoken these words, he went forth with his disciples over the brook Cedron, which was where was a garden, into the which he entered and his disciples. And Judas also, which betrayed him, knew the place, for Yahushua oftentimes resorted thither with his disciples. Judas then, having received a band of men and officers from the chief priests and Pharisees, cometh thither, with lanterns and torches and weapons. Yahushua, therefore, knowing all things, alright, Yahushua's spiritual power, he knew everything, man, that should come upon him. And that was through what? The prophecies of the word, testimony of Yahushua is the spirit of prophecy. So, it's in his spirit to do so. Verse 4, read it again. Yahushua, therefore, knowing all things that should come upon him, went forth and said unto him, Whom seek ye? They answered him, Yahushua of Nazareth. Yahushua saith unto them, I am he. And Judas also, which betrayed him, stood with them. As soon then as he had said unto them, I am he, they went backward and fell to the ground. And I believe what he actually said is I am, because when you have it in italic, it basically is in a translation, it isn't really there, but to make it make sense in English, they add the additional words. So he said I am. And I was in him saying that he exhibited great spiritual power, all right? Because that really showed, the Lord was establishing who he was, all right? Being that, who was he? Who were they looking for? Yahushua of Nazareth. He said, I am. And what is Jesus, as is written here, or Yahushua, which is his true name, mean? Right? He, the deliverer. Going back to the book of Matthew, the first chapter, telling you that his name should be called Yahushua, right? Because he would deliver these people from their sins. So that showing, and even in this, it shows a great power in the name of Yahushua, all right? So reading on verse 7, it says, Then asked he them again, Whom seek ye? And they said, Yahushua of Nazareth, all right? So it shows you that, it went over their head, that spiritual power, and their heart was fixed in to do what it was that they had to do. Verse 8, Yahushua answered, I have told you that I am he. If therefore ye seek me, let these go their way, that the saying might be fulfilled which he spake of them, which thou gavest me, I have lost none. Yeah, going back to the last chapter, he said, none is lost but the son of perdition, right? Then Simon Peter, having a sword, drew it, smote the high priest's servant, and cut his right ear. The servant's name was Malchus, all right? Then said Yahushua unto Peter, Put up thy sword into the sheath, all right? And he also said, They that live by the sword shall die, the famous words or the famous quote, they that live by the sword shall die by the sword, all right? Loosely paraphrasing how it's written according to the word. That's when he said those words in other gospels, because the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, all right? And it even shows you, as I read on, it says, The cup which my Father hath given me, shall I not drink it, all right? And even Yahushua went on to heal the servant that was Malchus, all right? He put his ear back in his place and healed him, all right? And really, even in him being in the garden, when you read it in the Matthew Henry commentary, it basically, because usually when I do these, I always go through the Matthew Henry commentary, and I basically see if there's any more depth, look into the Greek words, check out the precepts, kind of go over extensively. But they mention about, it was interesting that he was in a garden and things of that nature. You can look up. But the main takeaway that I took from it was that basically Yahushua is Adam, All right, they didn't mention that because they don't know it. But Yahweh Shai is Adam. All right, it tells you in the book of Corinthians, First Corinthians, the 15th chapter, that the first Adam was a living soul and the second Adam was a quickening spirit. And basically dealing with that garden, when you had Yahweh Shai in the garden as Adam, basically through his life, death was introduced into the world. But then Yahweh Shai being in this garden, through his death, was life brought into the world. So it shows you, the duality in the two. All right, going back to that scripture in 1 Corinthians 15th chapter. So verse 12, reading on, it says, Then the band and the captain of the officers of the Jews took Yahushua and bound him and led him away to Ananias first, for he was father-in-law to Caiaphas, which was the high priest that same year. And Caiaphas was he which gave counsel to the Jews that it was expedient that one man should die for the people. Right? He understood Yahweh Shai was to be a sacrifice for the people. Right? And Simon Peter followed Yahweh Shai, and so did another disciple. That disciple was known unto the high priest, and went with Yahweh Shai into the palace of the high priest. But Peter stood at the door without. Then went out that other disciple, which was known unto the high priest, and spake unto her that kept the door, and brought in Peter. Then saith the damsel that kept the door unto Peter, Art not thou also one of the man's disciples? He saith, I am not. And the servants and the officers stood there, who had made a fire of coals, for it was cold, and they warmed themselves, and Peter stood with them and warmed himself. So he also stood along with them same officers that were there. Alright, or just the servants and officers in general. As it just said, it doesn't actually say the same ones that were there, but it just says the servants and officers. The high priest then asked Yahushua of his disciples and of his doctrine. Yahushua answered him, I spake openly to the world. I ever taught in the synagogue and in the temple, whether the Jews always resort, and in secret I have said nothing. So the Lord basically, that's why it was known. It said that he spoke with great authority. All right, he was known. He said everything. All right. Why askest thou me? Ask them that heard me, what I have said unto them. Behold, they know what I said. And when he had thus spoken, one of the officers which stood by struck Yahushua with the palm of his hand, saying, Answerest thou the high priest so? Yahushua answered him, If I have spoken evil, bear witness of the evil. But if well, why smitest thou me? Now Ananias had sent him bound unto Caiaphas the high priest. Alright? And Simon Peter stood and warmed himself. They said therefore unto him, Art thou also one of his disciples? He denied it and said, I am not. One of the servants of the high priest, being his kinsman, whose ear Peter cut off, saith, Did not I see thee in the garden with him? Alright? So someone related to Malchus basically, was like, hey, I know you, man. You was in the garden with him. Peter then denied it again, and immediately the cock crew, fulfilling the words that Yahushua spoke. Alright? How that Peter was so within himself, he believed that he would be able to, do this and do that. But he didn't understand that he lacked humility. Alright, which a lot of us do in this faith. In certain situations, you think you're built a certain way, and then when they're brought before you, it shows that you don't have the correct level of gumption. Alright, not in everything, but there's some things where you need to go through a humiliation process to attain humility. Alright, and that's why and this is really what happened to Peter, because the Lord actually told him, exhorted him, and said, that he prayed for him, and that he should strengthen the apostles, the disciples, once he's changed, once he's been strengthened, basically. All right. So this was something for him to, a lesson learned on his behalf to gain more strength and wisdom and knowledge and understanding in his word and in his work. All right. Verse 28, then led they Yahushua from Caiaphas unto the hall of judgment, and it was early, and they themselves went not into the judgment hall, lest they should be defiled, but that they might eat the Passover. All right, and I believe that's, I don't know if there's any law that says you shouldn't do this, that, and the other pertaining to this. All right, but more so that, actually, I won't even speak on that. So it says, verse 29, Pilate then went out unto them and said, what accusation bring ye against this man? They answered and said unto him, if he were not a malefactor, we would not have delivered him up unto thee. Then said Pilate unto them, take ye him and judge him according to your law. The Jews therefore said unto him, it is not lawful for us to put any man to death. All right, so they were trying to pass the buck. They knew he'd done nothing worthy of death, but they wanted him dead, but they weren't prepared to put him to death by their own hand. All right, and they obviously feared the people. All right. Then Pilate entered into the judgment hall again and called Yahushua and said unto him, art thou the king of the Jews? Yahushua answered him, sayest thou this thing of thyself, or did others tell it thee of me? Pilate answered, am I a Jew? Thine own nation and the chief priests have delivered thee unto me. What hast thou done? Yahushua answered, my kingdom is not of this world. If my kingdom were of this world, then would my servants fight, that I should not be delivered to the Jews. But now is my kingdom not from hence. All right? So basically, the Lord said his kingdom is not from hence. So in that saying, he is a king, all right? But his kingdom was not of that time, all right? And if it was, his servants will fight. But that even shows you that this time that we're in, the fighting that we ought to do is through spiritual warfare. Verse 37, Pilate therefore said unto him, art thou a king then? Yahushua answered, thou sayest that I am. To this end was I born, and for this cause came I into the world, that I should bear witness unto the truth. Every one that is of the truth heareth my voice. Pilate saith unto him, what is truth? And when he had said this, he went out again unto the Jews, and saith unto them, I find in him no fault at all. All right? So he didn't find no fault in him. All right? But ye have a custom that I should release unto you one at the Passover. Will ye therefore that I release unto you the King of the Jews? Then cried they all again, saying, not this man, but Barabbas. Now Barabbas was a robber, all right? And that really goes in line with John 10, all right? All that, the Lord said he came, escaping me right now, but he said that everyone that came before me is a thief and a robber. Let me go to it, because that's quite a powerful scripture. John 10 and 8. So John 10:7. Then said Yahushua unto them again, verily, verily, I say unto you, I am the door of the sheep. All that ever came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. And only that's who's going to hear Yahushua, those that are of the fold, all right? And that's why they called for Barabbas, because they were in love with the thieves and the robbers, all right? And that's why the Lord even said, Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that killest the prophets. Because the prophets that came, they came in the same line as Yahushua, unto righteousness. All right? So with that, I pray you're edified. To the next one, I say shalom. Shalom.